We've talked a lot about Jack White's solo career, Boarding House Reach, which came out last year. Whew, that
Weird
was
one.
quite the album. Jack White rapping, not something I think many people wanted. Now he's back with the Raconteurs. Last album was 2008's Consolers of the Lonely. Before that, Broken Boy Soldiers. Uh, it's interesting. So I know you went back and listened to the Raconteurs to kind of get a sense before you listened to this album. What was your just overall take on them as a band?
Well, I definitely liked the sound of the Raconteurs much more than the sound of solo Jack White pre-Boarding House Reach, which of course is much more jarring, probably
Mhm.
like anything else he'd done before, a lot electronic influence, as you said. But like Blunderbuss Lazaretto, the
Mhm.
post White Stripes solo Jack White stuff, never really did much for me. And despite the fact that he's obviously been a master guitarist on basically everything he's been on, but like hearing Broken Boy Soldiers in particular, which also does predate Blunderbuss by 6 years, so it makes sense he changed. But like that I gotta say, like that's probably my favorite rock
Yeah.
album I've heard um in a very long time. Specifically, like
Hmm.
that came out in '06. I really was struggling to come up with a rock album that was newer that I actually liked more. And I didn't like Concerts Lonely quite as much, but I still think like those guys just fucking rock, and they rock in the
Yeah.
way I've always liked because they sound a little more old school, just in the way they sing and they mix in the guitars, and obviously it's hard shit the whole time. So I was a big fan. Then hearing Help a Stranger, um, again I don't like it as much as the first one, but still sounded really great, and I just I like to hear like more traditional hard rock once in a while because just and even if this gets into more like jammy, like I don't know, like what garage rock or and they slow down sections too, but
Mhm.
I think it's the type of rock music that you don't hear that often, especially from the big bands that are still around. So very refreshing for me. But I mean,
Sure.
obviously you've been a Raconteurs fan a long time. What did you think? Because it's not really a Jack White solo outfit, nor is it a White Stripes outfit. It's very much its own thing that Jack White's just a part of. So do you think it delivers on that promise? As being one of the side projects.
Sure. Um, yeah, what I really like about Jack White with the Rockin' Tours is it gets him into a sweet spot of his guitar ability, which is blues rock, which I think he just does fantastically. I mean, he's a pretty big Nashville guy, if I'm correct, and Detroit as well. But when he taps into that bluesy side of himself, I feel like that brings out some of the best guitar work that he does, as well as some of his best songwriting. And while I think some of the topics on this album are, I don't know, a bit off-putting, just because he's so anti-technology, and that was
Yeah,
a lot of what was on Boarding House Reach was just how like
yeah.
basically like a Black Mirror album in a sense. Um,
Just not as
it's
smart as it thinks it is.
right, exactly, and it just feels very old. I think when Jack White gets around the rest of the Rock and Tours, he just taps into something that he really thrives with. And I think the best example of that for me is there's two songs, "Some Days" and "Now That You're Gone." I feel like are
Yep.
just two of the strongest tunes on here, and not only is it the songwriting, but just the overall crafting of it. Like that thumping at the end of "Now That You're Gone," where it's just the kick drum is like fucking awesome. And obviously Jack White, even when he's at his worst, is still an amazing guitarist, and that doesn't change here. But where he picks and chooses to deliver those solos, I feel like is so much more affecting than on a lot of his solo stuff. So something about being part of the Rock and Tours just really, I think, brings out the best of him. What other songs stood out to you, or what moments did you like on this album?
I definitely really like Now That You're Gone as well. A song I think it's the last song we added to our 2018 playlist because it was a
Hey.
an early single, but
Mhm.
still fucking goes hard now. Uh, that's definitely my favorite one. And as you said, like it's just really nice to hear Jack White still be able to like recuse himself from his I don't know personal insecurities, whatever it might be. Um,
Mhm.
and like we have like Tech Woke, incredibly famous, incredibly connected in the music industry. Like he's cross genre in terms of the people he hangs out with and where even works with. So it's just great to hear him. I don't want to say get back to what he does best, because it's not quite exactly that, but it's just refreshing to hear him still deliver, uh,
Absolutely.
given how long he's been in the game. So I love it, love it.
Yeah. One last song I wanted to highlight was just "Shine the Light on Me." It's like a piano ballad, and I feel like it has this really awesome ending where Jack White's just basically like playing the piano and screeching the title of the song. Really, really awesome moment. Definitely recommend this Raconteurs album. And again, check out our Spotify best of 20 Nostalgia best of 2019 playlist to check out the songs on that we liked.